Hey, we have actually got a top 3. So in at number 3, shall we do the music? Dun 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 dun. And here we are with Top of the Fuckwit Pops for an answer to how can you have gas pressure without a container. In at number 3, it's the Rumpus with the second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth. Dun 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 dun. And down 1 at number 2, it's the Redneck Retard with a demonstration of gas pressure, quote, without a container, by way of 2 containers. Dun 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 dun. And Top of the Pops, fuckwit number 1. It's Thunderfoot Clown by changing gas into a solid with bonded bouncy balls. Dun 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 dun.
What do they win?
They win number 1 Fuckwit of the Year award.
And we're off. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. We're not going to Discord. Well, we are going to. Well, we're not. Yeah, we are. We are going to Discord, but the beautiful Betty Van Velsen's not there today. She might be by in a little while, but I think they have like 5 or 6 Christmases in the Netherlands, so we're going to have a backup. Who wants to be the backup? Flatsy. We'll just call you Betsy.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. For he's a jolly good fella.
You're mixing it. For he's a jolly good fellow. I wasn't expecting that, that's for sure.
It just felt right.
Yeah. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, you guys. How were your guys' Christmas all at once?
Family time. All good.
It was good and quiet.
Couple of whiskeys, 1 beer. That was it.
Bourbon and scotch and a beer.
Yep. I know it's not a good combination, but I don't do it often, so I don't care.
We had spaghetti. Had the family over the house and had spaghetti and had one of the I don't know what you call them, like meat dishes. Not meat dishes, but you put cheese and crackers and different type of meats. What do you call it? What do you call it?
Turkey stuffing?
No, you have a plate. A cheese plate.
Charcuterie tray. Charcuterie.
Nah, there's a word for it. I just can't remember what it is. You know what I mean, though. Yeah.
It's called charcuterie.
But that doesn't sound right. But if
hors d'oeuvres.
Not hors d'oeuvre tray. I don't know what you call. I'm gonna have to ask my wife for crying out loud. But
How about snack?
You know what I mean. It has different cuts of meats. It has cheeses, and crackers. Yeah. Like salami and summer sausage and other types of meats, and has a couple spreads on there, and that was a pretty big hit, I'd have to say. Okay. Carry on.
Who did the cooking?
Did the cook? We all did the cooking.
Yeah, that's how that works. Teamwork.
Maybe my wife did the majority of it, but everyone pitched in. It was nice. I mean, had a big old Italian dressing, salad, and different types of peppers and that. And I didn't have any. I just had the spaghetti, and we had. I'm not a big dessert guy, but on Christmas I'll go ahead and imbibe in some dessert. So only one. My mother-in-law makes it. It's a cream dessert. It's heavenly. I don't like chocolate, but it has chocolate in it. But I do like the cream cheese and graham cracker crust. It's something that just takes me back to when me and my wife got married, which is 25 years ago coming up. I'm getting friggin' old, man.
Well, I'm right up behind you, bro.
I had a good friend, childhood friend, call me this morning. He calls me every day on my birthday. He's been doing it ever since I can remember. And, of course, he calls it. My phone's ringing on the landline. So I said, oh, God, it has to be him. He's not calling my cell. So, too funny. Got to reminisce a little bit, just for a little while. It's good to talk to him. Shout out to Tommy.
Is he listening to the show?
No, he doesn't know I have a YouTube show.
Oh.
But, you just grow apart. You always have that thing in common, and me and Tommy's is our whole entire childhood. So the memories and all the events that took place in that. But, I moved away. I joined the military. And, in that sense, it's kind of a sad thing. But you just grow apart. It's just the natural way of things. I just accept it. Right? But there's always that connection, no matter what. So that's one cool thing about it. But, yeah, he doesn't. I don't keep all my friends up to date on the flat earth debate and stuff like that.
What would you say? What percentage of your friends know about this? About what you do?
Pretty good. I would say my old friends, they know. They know because I've told them. I'm not only told them. I've been back home, and I'm not going back again because my home's not there anymore. A few times and got with all my friends. They know where I stand. Of course, somebody's gonna start fucking texting me out of my mind right now, right? What the piss? Hold on.
It's your birthday. People are going to be telling you happy birthday all day today. It's gonna happen.
Now, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. All those. Yeah, they know where I stand. Yeah, not only that they know where I stand, I put it to them. Right?
So was there any pushback or how
No.
did they feel?
Surprisingly,
Okay.
no.
So
Not
you
sup-
flat smacked and they took it?
Not surprised. No, I didn't. I don't like that flat slapping thing.
You sure do it on here.
Yeah, but I don't like, and I wouldn't do that to I just, my friends and I were on a different wavelength from, I don't know how you describe it. How do we describe it? We tell it like it is, and that's it. I love that about, being home and with my friends and stuff. Sure, we can reminisce, but when we speak to each other, it's there's no fluff. It's this and that and this and that, and most of them can still think on their feet. So
happy Peach Day.
Somebody being a Weisenheimer out there.
Yeah.
Today's your birthday, QE. Happy Peach Day. Yeah, look, we got 37 people in here. It must be a slow day. Everyone's recovering from Christmas and stuff, and there's not too much going on. I didn't think there'd be that many people here today. Yeah, but like I said with my friends and stuff, it's not like there's no heckling, or making stuff up. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. Mature crowd, yeah.
I wouldn't say mature.
Intellectually.
Boys will be boys.
They're not all boys either.
Men will be men.
Man, no, they're not all men. There's some females in that crowd.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah,
Makes
just
sense.
yeah. So they're the same way too. So no, I don't do well with fluff and empty stuff. Hey, Mighty Mush, your mic's back feeding.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, so there's not too much fluff that goes along with any of our conversations. We'll reminisce and laugh about crazy stuff that's happened, but you know, once we state something, it's just like with anything. If you're going to state something, if you just make stuff up, people don't make stuff up. I have a real hard time with people making stuff up because I just didn't grow up that way. Right? So it's when I hear somebody make stuff up and everyone knows, right? If you get somebody making stuff up, you're not cloaked. Just FYI. Not around me or my friends. You're not cloaked at all. You're going to get called out real quick. Seriously, too. And then laughed at. Yeah. I guess I'm just a product of my environment.
That makes sense. It all comes together now.
Of course, all those kids back in my neighborhood, man, they were all crazy. Crazy as in, what'd I say? Not crazy, not, straitjacket crazy. I mean, just, they take a lot of chances. Physically, I wouldn't say mentally. I'd probably say physically. Back in the day, but we don't want to reminisce about all my friends back in the day. They were just they're a different breed. But most of them,
I smell what you're stepping in. I can kind of smell because they don't leave a lot to be guessed.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. There's no hidden agendas or anything. Nothing like that. So what you see is what you get. Right? There's no, is he thinking about, is he insulting me in some, no, they just tell you right to your face. So there's no second guessing like that. No.
No mind games. I like that. That's the way your friends should be.
Yep.
No mind games. And tell it like it is.
Yeah, they're all getting older now. Like I said, we were reminiscing earlier. Might as well talk about reminiscing anyway. We were laughing, and I reminded them back in the day that, all the older folks that lived in a neighborhood, anytime we'd get around them, would always hear them talking about their medical problems. And I can remember myself many times saying, just stop whining. And we'd talk to each other. What's wrong with these people? All they do is whine and talk about their medical problems. I mean, what's the problem? And then we get on the phone. He'll be 60 in a few months, and all we start doing is talking about our physical fitness and all our medical problems. He's on blood pressure medication and things like that. So it's kind of ironic, full circle, come back to mama sort of thing. It's pretty funny.
Yep. They say that you'll complain about the old until you're old, and then you'll understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I told him, I don't know, it was a week or two ago. I was sitting in the chair, just watching TV, and I went to get up to get something to drink, and my friggin' left leg wouldn't work. I was like, what is going on? Like, that was like stuck in my friggin' hip socket or something. And then when I did try to move it, it was like a sharp pain on there. Come on, man. Meanwhile, back in the day, I'd be swinging from the trees. Just swinging from them and then fall out of them. Land on my friggin' neck. Get up. Go play football. We didn't play football. We played what we call murder ball back in the day. Then, off to BB gun fights, and you never think twice. Get up the next day, no worries, recover immediately, right? Now, yeah. If I sleep the wrong way, it's like all day I'm like, oh man. hobbling around. Sometimes my son makes fun of me walking around the house. Like, too funny, man.
Sometimes I can feel the slight move in that direction.
Oh yeah,
But
it's coming, love.
oh, I know, yeah.
You can fight it off for a little while. Like I was just blessed because I was always active. You know, especially back in the 70s, we didn't have video games and stuff. So all our time was spent outside. So I was active my whole life. I mean, all kind of sports, right? Pretty good athlete. I was never a sedentary person. So always, and then even teenage years, and then the military, infantry, always active, right? You had your injuries along the way, but I think, and all those things, and then I weight trained for friggin' 20. All that activity and kept active. I think it has some benefit at this point. Not that I didn't abuse certain things. We won't get into those things, but, you know, on the point of just activity and staying in shape, right? But it only goes so far, right? You can't win against the second law. You can't do it. It's not going to happen.
Man, don't I know it? That's the way I look at everything now.
You delay it for a little while, but that's all you're doing. You're just
Yeah.
delaying the inevitable. Can't win. Can't break even. You can't win, and you can't get out of the game. The only way to get out of the game is the vapor lock.
That just like Hank Sr. said, I'll never get out of this world alive. Yeah. I'm in a sing-songy mood now, thanks.
Yeah, you are. There's Roger Ledwell breaking out. You always lead the super. Hey, Flatsy,
Super chat.
Superfluid.
Roger Ledwell, cause and effect.
Cause and effect. I guess you could boil it down to that if you'd like. Bars. Yeah, I've been to a few of those. Not in many, many years, though. I was never a bar guy. Well, that depends. Do you call clubs bars? But I didn't do clubs here in the States. I did them in Europe. So, I don't know how you'd categorize that. Never a big bar, go sit at a bar. Done it a few times. It's never, no, that's not me.
I was a bartender for a while.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. Well, actually, let's say I was a beer tender because I worked at a brewery.
Oh, okay. Good Christian upbringing?
I live in a nice small town where all the folks that are proclaimed Christians showed up at that brewery all the time. So.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Ryan, you old potato eater, where you at?
Hey, how are things? Good to be in here. Hey, Flatsy, hey, everyone. I just want to wish a big, massive happy birthday to Baseball Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith, who was 69 today.
Thanks a lot, man. You
Nah, happy birthday, Kiwi. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Is Ozzie Smith 60?
69 today.
69?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what's according to the internet today. 69.
So
Lars Ulrich, the drummer from, is it Megadeth or Metallica?
I have no
He's
idea.
born the same day as well.
Remember Ozzie Smith? That all I could remember his coming out, for every game. He played shortstop for the Cardinals. He'd come out and do that friggin' backflip. Yeah, you guys remember that? Was that a backflip or a front flip? You guys don't know what I'm talking about? Hello? My mic working?
I'm the wrong person because I just found Ozzie Smith about 10 minutes ago. So.
You don't even know who the hell you're talking to, you pretender clown.
I just needed somebody famous that I could use.
Yeah, I got you. I busted you. Ozzie.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, you're caught, man. Ozzy, yeah, that was him. This type of thing. Second. Wonder if they have.
All I know is that the Cincinnati Bengals went to the Super Bowl twice in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, that's too funny. Oh, here he comes. 1 second, 1 second. Hey, stop, pause. Is that him coming out the flip? 1 second. There he goes. Yeah, he's going to do it. Yeah, that's cool as shit. Okay, I'm going to play it. No sound, so I won't get copyright strike. So there's Ozzie Smith. He's a shortstop back in the day for the St. Louis Cardinals. This is what I'm talking about. every game he'd come out and do that, man. Every time, and he played for years and years and years. Bet you, I wonder if he could still do that. Did you guys see that? Did I push that over there? If I didn't,
Nah, we couldn't see that. Nope.
hold on a second. I'll play it again. There it comes. Just in case I didn't. I think I did. Yep. At the beginning of the game, he wouldn't do this every inning, just the start of the game. Yeah, that'll do it. He was a great shortstop, too. I liked Ozzie Smith. That was back in the day, boy.
Yeah, the only thing I could say that's comes close to being impressive, my husband can do a round off back handspring.
He can?
Yeah,
How old is he?
33, about to be 34.
Oh, God, he's a youngster.
How long has he been with the circus?
I got T-shirts that old.
Yeah, I just turned 32, so he's gonna turn 34 next month.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, so what else is going on? Oh, Brian, too funny. That's what else is going on. It seems that Danny from Answers in Genesis, you know, that crayon crunching clown astronomer, he was all over the comments section with the errors. Doesn't have weight. Ballbusters, huh? Do you see? I know you've seen it.
Sorry, I was away from the phone. Yeah, and he's trying to do the same thing as he did the first time. He tried to bring up the Pascal's principle,
Yeah.
which only applies to compressible fluids, which is gases. Incompressible fluids,
Yeah.
which is liquids. Sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply to gases, only liquids. And he tried it again, even after being corrected the last time. He still tried it again. It shows how dishonest he is.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the first commenters in there too. I was surprised. Well, not surprised, but he always does that. And I think some other crayon muncher jumped in there and he was talking about Pascal's principle, which they both don't know what Pascal's principle is.
Yeah, if you read through the comments, there is another guy comes in there, and he's the guy I've been having a to and fro with for the past while, who can't accept that gas doesn't have weight. You know, that's what we're dealing with. They just can't accept that. And what was it he said? He said something monumental about Pascal's principle. Oh, I told him it only applied to incompressible fluids, which is liquids. And he came back with, it has nothing to do with incompressible fluids. I mean, told me, I mean, if you're going to say that, it means you haven't even looked into it. You're just trying to argue from a position of complete ignorance on the topic.
Yep.
You're not going to. At least Danny Faulkner knows what it applies to, and he's just lying. Do you know what I mean? I support Faulkner, and he's trying to pretend. You can't do that.
Happy birthday!
Hey, thanks, Neil. Appreciate it. Yeah, and he just left. He didn't. It's just one short sentence from Danny Faulkner. He says you left out Pascal's law or Pascal's principle. Period. That's it. Wow. What a great rebuttal, Danny. I mean, that's why we love you, idiot. Don't even know.
Why he did? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in at the end of your sentence there.
Yeah, you did.
Why he did that? Well, yeah, I didn't know you. I didn't realize.
Yes,
you
you
weren't
did.
Finished. I'm okay. We'll go along with that. Why he left that there is because he's hoping somebody will come in there and see that who doesn't know any different. You know, someone who's green to the situation, and go off and look into it and see that it applies to oxygen and other gases, right? But without realizing that it's applying to them only in their liquid state. It's never applying to them in their gaseous state. So if you liquefy oxygen, yeah, as a liquid, it applies to it then. But oxygen liquid, not oxygen gas. You know, and we're talking about reality here. We're not talking about, we don't see oxygen liquid all the time in nature, do we? We only experience oxygen gas. So we're talking about what's happening in the real world, not what man can manipulate. You know what I mean? Because man can turn helium into superfluid, but you don't see a superfluid in reality, as in our natural world. Superfluid.
I got a super chat too, so that was.
You did?
Yes. James Richard, I missed the numpty clips and toe tags. We want more.
Yeah. Thanks, James. Yeah. You know what? As a matter of fact, I've been over the past few weeks, I'd jump on those numpty clips just to listen to a couple, right? And they're friggin' hilarious. So I don't know. It won't be new stuff. I could play the older ones. Think about that. That might be something that might be coming around the corner, lest we forget. In other words, so yeah. Let me put this up. You guys won't see. Well, I could share it, couldn't I? Okay, I got that. 1 second. Let me stop streaming. I think it's that one. All right, go live. So now you guys can't see it. We'll go over with Danny. So here, let me cut over. So this is Ballbusters from Saturday, right? The weight, I called it. Showed in the Nazareth, feeling about half past dead. Remember that? The weight? You guys don't know what I'm talking about. That's all right. But anyway, it's from Ballbusters, punishing anti-flat earthers. You know, yeah, you would know it. It's from the band, but I digress. So one of your hecklers is Big Heretic, who's just a dumbass cracker. But there's Danny right here. Got this over here. So Danny Faulkner, one short sentence, astronomer royale over at Answers in Genesis. Brian puts together at least an hour's length presentation discussing every itty-bitty detail, and this is all Danny's got. You left out Pascal's law or Pascal's principle, period. Do you think that's a rebuttal? You glue-sniffing fungus muncher. My word, sir. What is this, or is it just the power of innuendo suggestion, which is a fallacy? That's what you were going for? Doesn't even know what Pascal's law is. Right? And Brian's right in there. He goes, no, Danny, we didn't, as that only applies to liquids. Remember the last time you were corrected on this? Nice one, Brian.
Shouldn't he be more concerned about chapter 10 in Joshua?
Yeah, I don't know his rebuttal on that. Why don't you email him through Answers in Genesis and ask him about that?
Ooh, did Danny take a load off?
No, I see what you did there.
Nice one.
Folks, she made a play on the Nazareth little song there from the band, because it's take a load off Fanny. But you see what she did? She said take the load off Danny. Good one.
That's-
Nice, but nicely done. Pascal's principle. Oh, and there's your other heckler. Big heretic. You're about a dumbass. Right? Here he goes. Big heretic. Pascal's principle in fluid, gas, or liquid mechanics, statement that in a fluid at rest. You see this comment right here? In a fluid at rest, that rules out gases because gases are never at rest, you idiot. So that's what I'm talking about. That's right. And then Brian comes back. Pascal's principle only deals with incompressible fluids, not at rest. This is it's a problem. It's not only a problem with this term. They use it because gases and liquids are fluids. So they take that term and to somehow mean that liquids and gases are kind of the same, which is incredibly stupid. I don't even know why they put gases in this fluid. Probably just in the fluid category. Probably just to mix everyone up purposely, right? Because gases aren't liquids, sunshines. Yeah. So Pascal's principle or law only deals with incompressible fluids at rest. So that removes gases out of Pascal's principle. Any questions?
Exactly. The at rest.
So you're
part
saying
is
gas is excused?
Gas is excused? I don't know. Go ahead, Brian.
I'm just saying the at rest part. I mean, if that doesn't give it away, like hydrostatic pressure, hydro, which is connects to liquids, not gases. Static, which applies to inertia. Not constant movement. I mean, pressure. I mean, it's a transference of pressure. The only way that there's any gas behavior involved in Pascal's principle would be that the gas pressure is hitting off the surface of lakes and oceans. You know what I mean? And even at that, it'd be lakes because you'd have that transference of pressure down through the water. That's the whole point. Divers must take it into account. When they're diving, they have to take Pascal's principle into account because they have to take the air pressure that's hitting the top of the surface of the water into account because that will be added to the pressure when they're down deep. You know what I mean? So it's not just the depth pressure; it's also that extra pressure from the air pressure. They have to calculate that in. You know, we don't have to calculate that in, Mum. It's so stupid, but I think when they called both of them fluids, I don't think they were expecting that there was going to be numpties. They didn't understand it.
Danny pulled that maneuver with me back in 2016 when we were in that little email back and forth. That was right out the gate, 2016, really quick, and that's the first thing he said. Because immediately I brought up, how can you have gas pressure without a container? And he suddenly went to hydrostatic equilibrium. I said, Danny, you friggin' crayon muncher. And that was really quick. I'm telling you, it was a quick death for him. He just won't give it up.
No, he won't, because even the last time when he first on the last presentation on this topic that I did on your show on BALLBUSTERS, which is your show, but it's BALLBUSTERS. The last time he said Pascal's law, and I said, you mean Pascal's principle, right? Because I wanted to make sure that he was talking about the same thing, because I can't trust that these people are not going to mix something up or purposefully mix something up. So I said, you mean Pascal's principle? So that's why this time he said Pascal's law or Pascal's principle. He added it in because he remembered it the last time. He remembered the last time he was trying to accuse you of deleting these comments and all this other nonsense.
Right.
Is because he had nothing.
Yeah, he's pathetic.
That other guy there, that big heretic, as I said, he's been commenting on my original shorts video on it. He's made comments underneath Danny's video, or Danny Faulkner's comments, sorry, and he's started his own thread on that video on the BALLBUSTERS video from the other night as well. And I've had it out with this guy, and he's just not accepting it. You know, he's just not accepting it. He's not getting it. Like, gases don't have weight. And he kept on trying to say and come up with everything he could to try and give gases weight. And I kept on, you know, stopping it at every corner. As you said, there was a flamethrower. You know, there's just no way around it. But one of the things I said is that it's one of the easiest way to show someone or to prove that gases don't have weight is that if you want to believe gases have weight, put the same amount of gas, right, 1 mole of oxygen, into 3 equally sized containers on 3 scales, 1 to 80 degrees Celsius, 1 to 100 degrees Celsius, and 1 to 120 degrees Celsius. You're going to get three different numbers on the scales, because it's not about weight; it's about pressure.
Right.
There's not weight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like you can't get past that, and it's just like the fact that that won't happen. Like that, it won't happen in that way with liquids, or solid, definitely with solids. You know what I mean? There might be some small little change, depends on the solid, but you won't have a change like that. You won't have a dramatic change, which you will have with gases. You know, that's for only one good reason, and that is because they don't have weight. All that's been experienced is the pressure that's hitting the bottom of the container, and any due to pressure. Any kind of momentary liquefaction that's happening at the bottom. You're not weighing the gas. If gas can be compressed, how can you weigh it? It's ridiculous.
So why ain't flat earthers getting this, Brian? Because they still seem to think that gas has weight. Tired of arguing this.
Well, it's the same quandary as the ballers. They're listening to the ballers, and the ballers are in a quandary where they need air to have weight. And the flat earthers think that air must have weight. Why? Like, you don't need air to have weight. They need it to have weight, so they have to pre-assume it does and go through a heap of nonsense. Start bringing the word mass in, and all this, trying to calculate this thing and that thing in this way and that way. And it doesn't mean anything, because if you put that container on the scales and you take the top off the container, will you start getting whatever reading is on the scales when you have that 1 mole of oxygen? Let's say you have a scales, you have 1 mole of oxygen in a container, right? A half a liter container. You have it on a scales and it's at 100 degrees Celsius, right? Whatever reading is showing on that scales, you take the top off that, and the reading is going to decrease because the gas will be going up. I mean, so that weight is not an up. Weight is a down only. A linear downward vector force. That is weight. That's what it is. On a scales, and that's it. If you don't have a linear, downward vector bias, it has to be a bias, because there is going to be a linear downward force with gas, but that same force is going to be equally up the way and sideways and at every angle. So why they're not getting this, I don't know. Why the flat earthers feel the need to try to hold on to some ridiculous air has weight fallacy or illogical thinking? It doesn't make any sense.
Superchat.
Superfoot.
This is from Tribute. I'm on I-90 screaming, "Happy birthday, QE!" Little one sticker with balloons. That's cute.
Yeah, thank you.
He's far from one. Just saying.
Just so funny, here's something funny. That guy, Big Heretic. Now, I think half the time he's only chancing his arm, but sometimes obviously he's getting things wrong. He's getting things wrong. He tried to claim that a barometer was a weighing scales because he was trying to give. You know what I mean? And I have the comments there. It's just like, it's ridiculous to claim something like that. But that's how far they'll go. Sorry, Patsy.
I just got another super chat.
Superfoot.
James Richard, QE, condensed gas has weight, but not, but that would be a change of frame, would it not?
Change of frame. What's up? Hold on a second.
Like a.
Oh, it's a phase change.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when you put gas in a container, A lot of the times when it's at high pressures, it'll turn to liquid at the bottom. So
I wanted to comment on that real quick. Is that's how they determine the pressure for that vessel that it's going to be in, and that it doesn't get overpressurized by the phase change to a liquid due to compression. So when they say a 20-pound tank, that's what has happened, is you've made enough pressure in that tank to create 20 pounds of phase change conversion. Therefore, you know you're at X pressure for that vessel. Anyway, that's about it. And I think that 20 pound got kind of screwed up over time. Thanks. Bye.
another James Richard,
Superfoot.
yeah, always a party pooper, but we only have 2 birthdays: the day we're born and the day we're born again through Christ. Celebrate the second one, if any.
Agreed, James. Good point. Yep, totally agree. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I say that previous comment before James Richard, that was a good. That man should elaborate on that. Say it again and say it clear, because that's an important point.
Yeah.
That's Divergent
Sure.
Droid.
No, it's James. It's lumpy gas. Anyway, so because I've worked in mechanical seals and things and some high pressure stuff, but that phase change is what's determining your pressure. Because at the temperature that you're in, and sometimes it's got to be more precise, but generally speaking, if you're dealing with butane, it could be done in cold air, hot air. It does not make that much of a difference, but because it's at a weight, that means a certain amount of the gas had a phase change, and that will happen as you increase pressure. They'll become more liquid within the volume of the gas, and that's not natural, so we don't really, but it would have weight because it's going to get more liquid as the pressure increases, and that the ratio there, but what's happened is the tank will say 20 pounds on it, and then people sometimes I think there's people that can handle like 2 thoughts at once, but if you get 3 in there, kind of like a dog, I was told to never use it more than a 2-syllable command, right? So I think what happens is they'll get caught up in the word wait, and then they can't hear a 3 idea or a way of describing a thing in tandem. It becomes like the really difficult puzzle for Sudoku, and you're trying to remember like 12 things at once or 14 things at once, that sort of thing. And it just, you get lost in it, that sort of thing. Because I don't know if you guys remember in grade school, there were them students, and I suspect a lot of these guys ended up being professors because they had to prove they weren't dumb. But when they would do things like match this to that, there would be people in class that would have to memorize what the answer would have been, and it wouldn't have been like apparent to them, say in 1st and 2nd grade. You're trying to identify a tree, a leaf, a rock, a river sort of thing. And you know what I mean? So there's some people that are not working on a level that allows them access to come to conclusions if they're more complicated, I suspect.
I'm just spitballing. I don't think that Brian wanted you to go that direction.
Okay.
I was talking. Yeah, but I was wanting you. Well, you did kind of do it anyway, Dave, when you talked about the 20 pounds, let's just say, within the tank. Now you know that the pressure is a certain amount. The gas that's in the tank is at a certain pressure because that amount has liquefied and to give you that weight. So the weight is not like you can't weigh all of what's in it. You can't weigh the full amount of matter that's within the tank because like the gas that's in the tank is part of that matter, and that won't all have a downward bias. But the liquid, that's the part at the bottom that has liquefied because of that temperature and pressure, because of that, at that temperature, you know that because it's showing 20 pounds on the scale, that you know that it's at a certain pressure because you know how much is liquefied.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. You got it. And there's not much to add to it, but yeah, it's and then they like the conflation that you're I would term really concise on the other day would be say if you were to put gas into a container and there isn't a phase change, but if the whole containment were weighed, the gas would increase the density of that object, and it would. But it's not that the gas is weighed, right? But it would follow the density rate, the rate,
Yeah, well, you have to calculate a density for gas if you're going to do an overall density. Like they have to do it for ships, whatever. So you have to use a calculation of a density for the air when they're building a ship. They need to know for the overall density. They need to know how much air is going to be in there, and they're going to have a calculation of the density of that air. And you know what I mean? And what kind of at the temperatures the ship will be at, what kind of pressures will be in there as well, obviously. But they have to calculate that in. The same for any calculation of if they're doing any calculation of buoyancy, whether it be a helium balloon or a ship on the ocean, it's the same thing, because their calculation will have to involve the density of the medium and the overall density of the balloon with the helium in it, and the overall density of the ship with the air inside of it. So you have to calculate it, even if people don't like using the term density when it comes to gases. You must calculate you must give it a density when you have to do stuff that involves an overall density. You have to, because if you're going to add it in, you have to give it an overall density. People, just something I want to say. People don't like it, and they say just use the term pressure, but that won't work, because I can increase or decrease the pressure with temperature without increasing or decreasing the amount of gas that's inside. So you're not, pressure alone won't work, because that can be determined by volume size and by temperature. So how do you calculate for the overall density of a ship or something else if you're just going to use pressure? You can't, because then you're working off of temperature. Yeah, for density, you have to work off of, well, let's say if with the air, they use a cubic centimeter or cubic meter, this kind of thing, and say there's this much, at that temperature, there's this much in that area. So they calculate it that way. But you know what I mean? It's hard. I know people have a problem with the word density when it comes to gases, but then again, it's because the calculation for density is weight over volume. A lot of people are going to use weight over volume, but the definition of density is not weight over volume. That's the calculation. That's the thing about it. So people like Adam doesn't like it, and I know Paul doesn't like it on the panel, LVA Paul and some others. But you have no, it is what it is. As I said, if you can change the pressure with temperature, then you can't use pressure as your density. You can't do that, because you can change it just with changing the pressure doesn't mean you have a change in the amount of matter. You can only do it if you want to do it.
You're absolutely right on that, Brian. And the example of the temperature increase having an effect in that way nullifies any argument other than that. Yep, you're over it for sure.
It's the same for convection, because they have to use they use temperature and density for convection when they're explaining convection within a fluid, where it be liquid or gas. But if it comes to the air, they're talking about per meter cubed, there is this much density of air, let's say that much amount of matter within that meter cubed at that temperature. When the temperature decreases, there is more, and when it increases, there's less. If at sea level, let's just say. That's why warm air goes up, cold air flows down. It's just that's how they describe convection. Come on.
There's it would be minute, but temperatures affect the size of materials when you're talking like machining and steel, and but it's such a minute change. I couldn't say that the temperature's affecting the volume of the material, and therefore that wouldn't be the same as pressure for gas. Anyway, because of the
go on, sorry, I'm cutting it.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, what people have to understand, this is something I was taught years ago by my father, because he was a carpenter and joiner for years. So when it comes to, let's say, wood, why at certain times of the year does wood expand and other times it contracts? Why does this happen? And it's to do with what's within the wood. Is it the air that's within the wood, let's just say, or the water that's within the wood? Because it's not the wood itself, let's just say, that's expanding or contracting. It's the surrounding medium that's within there and how the temperature is affecting that. So it will be affecting, obviously, if it's very cold, then it's going to affect whatever water is within the wood, because the water is going to be turning to ice, which will cause an expansion, right? If it's air and it's warm, then whatever air is within there will be expanding, because it's causing, there's more heat, more movement. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of time when it comes to solids, the expansion or the contraction is due to how much air is within it, or liquid. Do you know what I mean? I would say with things like steel and that, you'll have a lot less. You'll have a certain amount of expansion and that, but it may not be the same amount as with wood, because you won't have the same amount of air or water getting in there, because steel is more dense, more compacted, so there's less places for air and that to get in there. But you have to take, it's the medium that's of liquid or gas that's expanding and that's causing the expansion or contraction. So people have to take that into account, because that's important. Like, is the steel itself getting bigger or smaller? It's a solid, so what's actually happening? It's the effect that the surrounding medium has on it, I would say.
Super chat.
Superfoot.
James Richard, the density calculation requires the specific medium you're putting the gases in. The calculation would differ from water to mercury, would it not? And the other one's from Roger Ledwell. Happy unbirthday, Mr. Easier. Many more to come.
Mr. Easier. Thanks, James and Roger. Appreciate it. The density calculation required. The density calculation, I don't know who said weight. Density equals mass over volume. So mass isn't weight. To be technical.
I said it because Adam, when he was arguing the point with me, this would have been on the after show, and Paul and someone else, I don't want to say it was refracted, but it may have been refracted. They used the term weight.
Yeah.
Whereas mass, go on.
Yeah, density equals mass over volume.
That's
the equation for it, right? So unless they're saying mass is weight, got a problem there.
But see, if you change the term, there's nothing wrong with that. If you change the term, stay away from the word weight, and you change the term mass, which doesn't have any clear definition, to the Latin term massa. Because then massa means an amount or an accumulation of stuff or matter. That's what it means. It's a description of an accumulation.
No, we're not changing. No. No, it's mass. M-A-S-S, not massa. We're not going down the entomological friggin' train wreck of a disaster. So they know what they mean when they say mass.
Yeah, but I don't mean to try and help them. I'm talking about, for in reality, what are you really doing with that calculation? Because if you're using the term mass, right, then which mass are you using? The only term you could use would be like what they call molar mass, something like that. Is it in chemistry? You can't use the pre or post Einstein definitions, because then you're invoking stuff that is, for a start, the two of them are in contradiction. Yeah. Those two definitions are in contradiction, and secondly, you're invoking things that, so I'm just saying, for a calculation of density, massa is actually a more honest. To use massa over volume is a more honest. You know what I mean?
Sounds ridiculous to me, man. But all
right. I know.
Yeah, but a lot of flat earthers, like Neil was saying, just give them a little while, Neil. Have some patience with them, and maybe this will get through. The air definitely doesn't have weight. We have and then define weight. That I'll get the popcorn out. Nathan Oakley, sir, I see you in here.
Good evening. Hello.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas and happy birthday. Hello, Brian.
You just wanted to stay clandestine?
I'm just listening. I'm paying attention, paying close attention.
Okay. So if you think about it, and you think about gas behavior, and you understand gas behavior, and you understand the definition or colloquial definition of weight, you could figure this out really quick, that how in the world can you get a weight, colloquially, off of gas when it's transient? It doesn't make sense just on a fundamental level, right? Because it's going in every which way. It's not down. So it doesn't make any sense on a fundamental level. I think a lot of people just haven't thought about it. And they're just thinking, when they go get their, when their propane tanks on their grills gets low, hey, well, this is kind of light compared to the heavier one that they, when they go and buy another propane tank, right? Full. It's much heavier. So that's what they're thinking. So it's going to take a little bit of time for this to work its way through. I'm pretty confident that most flat earthers will catch up to this.
The super chat.
Superfluid.
Sasha, he said, more honest is property over, or property of matter over volume. Crying, laughing face,
Yeah,
crying,
right.
laughing,
Yeah.
crying, laughing.
Crying, laughing, facing. Yes. Thanks, Sasha.
Well, when people see, like, you can understand that the everyday layperson just goes and they're getting some helium for party balloons, and they buy this little canister of helium in the shop. You can buy them in any big supermarket, and they swish around the bottom, and they hear a little something swishing around the bottom. But that, like, they think, well, okay, so there's a bit of liquid there, so and they might think it has that it has weight, and the swishing around the bottom is I don't know. They might think that's partially gas. Who knows what they're thinking? But even that situation is impossible, because that swishing around the bottom, there's no way you're getting pure helium. There's no way you're getting pure helium in those canisters, because for helium to become a liquid, it needs pressures and temperatures that are so extreme. You need special situations to create them. So what you're getting in those canisters is only a partial helium and something else. That's all you're getting. Partial helium and some other gas, maybe air at pressure. That's all you're getting in those canisters. But people hear a swishing at the bottom. They go, yeah. Helium also has weight. You know what I mean? In their own heads or something, they're thinking.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
When did they come up? When did they discover if that's possible, helium? Is there a date on that?
What possible? And
What's possible? What?
Neil?
What kind of question is that?
Helium.
Helium?
What do you mean? Isolating helium? A way to isolate it? Is that what you're getting at?
Neil, you're roboting. Neil, roboting, Neil. Yeah, we're not going to get any. Yeah, we're not going to get any more. We're not going to get any more from that. Just drop it.
I wanted to ask if a way that can be pointed out, like a Phil Bell argument about why the gas isn't rushing up to the sky to fill that low volume.
It is.
So their argument is, because we're at stasis, we can determine that it's not rushing up and that the pressure's at stasis because it's not happening. But their answer is that they would have no container. If they wanted to drive at why it isn't rushing into there, makes their solution makes that question worse. I think it.
Well,
do you think there's a way to make that comical? Because it's a really well done. Because they're saying that they don't. But yes, but they try to proposition we have a problem with the 0.000 whatever one psi. But their answer again, it makes what they offer worse way worse than what we have. Fundamentally, yes, but even if you're trying to draw an analogy to why the air isn't rushing up, when you got the Kármán line in their model where the pressure really goes down, right? Because we can't test it, right? Anyway, I'll be quiet because I just thought I thought that it was a good way to use what they tried to offer. As,
Phil Bell didn't know the difference. He didn't know that vapor was gas. So he's a retard. You kind of should take that away from Phil.
All right. I just thought.
Let me explain some stuff. Let me give you a moment. I went through this in 2019. I did a whole presentation, and I'm very seriously considering doing another presentation and adding in the bits I've learned since then on this matter. And my presentation in 2019, none of the ballers have been able to address it. Right? It has not. It's at the point where Sabine Hasselfelder and others are correcting themselves on videos to say they were wrong to say that our air pressure gradient is caused by a gravity gradient. It's not just because there's two gradients doesn't mean one is caused by the other. She's even admitting that, and she's saying gravity is not a force. So, so even within their own paradigm, they're trying to backtrack away from that. Now that kills them. As soon as they say gravity is not a force and start admitting that, it means their whole paradigm is finished. The whole heliocentric paradigm is finished. But besides that, there's a load of questions that they have absolutely no answer for concerning that gradient, right? The gradient is due to a couple of basic things, right? I won't go into all the details now, but a couple of basic things. Number one, gas cycles, right? Which is which is a natural thing that's happening between the Earth and sky. So there is 99% of all our air is made up of oxygen and nitrogen. And the oxygen and nitrogen cycles are happening continuously with the Earth, right? The other 1% of gases have their own cycles and stuff going on as well. But the whole point is that 99% they have to admit is a cycle. So they can't even argue about 99% of it because they have to admit that that's a cycle. So it doesn't go up and then keep going up. It has to recycle. There's nothing there for the replenishment of these gases.
Except the first law of thermodynamics violation.
Exactly. Like matter, nature cannot create matter nor energy. So everything is recycled. There's no replenishment going on.
Yep.
This is another thing that kills them. And as I said, I have a load I could go into. But what's something that they don't understand, and it's something I'm going to put into, I think the presentation I'm going to do on this, is I've caught on to what is happening at above 10 miles. So at 10 miles up, there's an average temperature of minus 51 degrees Celsius. That'll be very, very cold. But it starts increasing after that. But yet the air pressure doesn't increase, it still decreases. But that makes total sense because it's the type of heat that's happening. The type of heat that's happening is radiative heat, not conductive, not convective. And there's other elements to it that is the reason for there being still a decrease after 10 miles. But you have to go up to 24, 25, up to 27 miles before you start getting into the above zero temperatures. Anyway, and you also have to deal with the majority of our air and gases are below cloud level. I'm talking 85% of them is below, maybe even more, is below cloud level. So after that, right, you have such a massive area. Like, what's cloud level? The average cloud level is probably between 2 and 6 miles. So after that, you have a massive area that's way of altitude for the gases to, you know what I mean, for the gases to fill. Right, gas fills space. Now, I won't go into all the details because I can't right now, because it'd be better if I just do it properly, step by step in the presentation. But what's naturally happening makes total sense naturally. What they're trying to claim is impossible. As QB just pointed out, fourth law of thermodynamics makes it impossible because they need a replenishment to be happening that isn't possible.
I'd like to add to this in a way that I hadn't heard yet, but to involve the statistical aspect of entropy, I would just, if you could consider it like this, because I'm certain that this is what's going on account air isn't rushing up. But so the pressure would be relational to the environment of the local cubic area of gas. For example, at the ground and say at the Kármán line, a cubic area of pressure is going to relate to whatever is pressing the gas back down. So there can be pressure with the container, and that we could even call it a cubic meter or yard or whatever. But so that pressure and the collision, well, because the pressure is increasing, the activity due to temperature, because that's where the heat generally but except for where it's radiative as you go up. But I'm just saying for that area isn't going to be relating in a statistical sense to the pressure that's at elevation way up there, because it's at stasis. We know this, but there's the statistical aspect, and that would be a way to express it, because the gas that isn't touching from way up in the air isn't colliding with the gas at the ground. And the gas at the ground produced has a statistical probability whether it will ever reach 10,000 feet, ever. Right?
Well,
it has a 50-50 chance of going up at all. Okay.
No, you can't.
I don't know about that.
Why?
No, that doesn't make any
It doesn't.
sense.
It's the gas. No, yeah, because it's going to collide. It has a 50-50 chance of up or down.
You have to take temperature into account. Temperature.
Oh yeah,
temperature must be taken into account.
Well, it's the collisions that cause the pressure in the temperature.
Yeah, but the temperature determines. But the temperature determines like you have to look at oxygen and nitrogen alone separately, and what temperature are they affected? Did they start, as they call it, as they describe it, as gain in density? Because it's convection. Gas can't keep going up if the temperature is too low. It just can't. It's naturally going, because there's warmer gases rising and colder gases flowing down. It can't keep going up. The temperature stops it from doing this.
No, that's not what I'm getting at. Is the pressure at the ground isn't directly connected to the pressure at upland,
but
the top
the pressure.
But the pressure at the ground, molecules are pressing on each other in that local area, and that's how it maintains that gradient, right? Because if it wasn't at stasis, that low pressure area, because that's how to express.
We're
it
going down a
system.
road here that's convoluted and crazy, man. Don't do it.
It's not crazy. It's what's happening.
Don't do it.
Yeah, but hang on, Lumpy. What's going on? We keep it simple, because what you're dealing with actually is like an engine. The best way to describe it would be like an engine, because there's so many working parts going on, right? There's so many things going on, right, to give us our gas and air pressure gradient. There's so many things going on there, and to create our gas cycles, that you can't just put it down to one thing or another. What heats the surface of the earth? Radiative heat, right? And that radiative heat, the heat from the surface, then translates to the gas, right? Conductively, right? And then that causes convection within the gases. That's the three types of heat, right? So what heats the air? The radiative heat that heats the ground. So that would mean that the air is being heated from the ground being heated by radiative heat, right? Conductive heat is then transferring that heat to the gases that are then transferring the temperature amongst other, let's say, amongst themselves, right? Right, is a bad way to describe it. Yeah, amongst themselves, right, as convection, right, and so it's radiative, conductive, convective. It's in those three steps. So why is it that the air is more heated by the conductive heat exchange off the surface than it is by the radiative heat that heats the surface. That's the thing. And that's what makes sense when it comes to the higher elevations, the higher altitudes of our air pressure gradient. And I'm going to go into that when I do the presentation.
What's the question?
Well, really, the question is, how do you explain an air pressure gradient? That's what it is, because our opposition are going to try, because just stupidly, the more naive ones are still claiming a gravity gradient. Is creating an air pressure gradient.
So why is there a gradient? We've already been through this for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's getting away. You're on delta X, or our English friends, delta X. Where'd they get the R from?
Good question.
That's a more pertinent question, I feel.
Nathan can answer that.
Nathan, where do you get the R from? Delta. It's not delta, it's delta.
Look, you say it like I say it. Like if it's an English twang thing, number one, I'm not the arbiter of English. And number two, if I'm specifically saying it, that's just a me thing. But I don't think I am I?
No, it's not just you.
Delta X. Yeah,
There
I suppose
you go.
I do say yeah, a bit of an R on there. I said it as naturally as I could, so I wasn't like Delta X. No, I don't do the R. What are you talking about?
We could say it like Delta.
Thank you, Neil.
You're welcome.
All right, what else? You know what else isn't catching on? I have yet to hear people stop Globers with their Horizon stuff. Soon as one person says Horizon, the game, the jig's up.
Slope a dope.
I'm telling you, man, you guys aren't on this slope. I don't know why it's so easy. Or am I thinking it's easy and it's not?
It is very easy when you know why the horizon is, why the word horizontal, why it's not begging the question to say that the horizon is a horizontal. It's totally easy then when you understand why the horizon is definitely a horizontal line. But if you're not convinced or you're unsure, then you can end up having an argument and allowing the ballers to call the horizon, like to describe the horizon as some kind of a refracted, pathetic, leading edge of a globe. So I think it is. I love it. I love the rate of slope 0. I love it. You know what I mean? But I can argue and prove why the horizon is a horizontal. It's not just an apparent horizontal. It is horizontal. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. But maybe a lot of people can't do it.
Well, that's the bit I want to tally on to, which is to say that you then spin it round if they're using it to how it's practically applied, i.e. establishing a horizontal plane of reference. Well, in so doing, you're utilising their claim, if they're using the horizon, to prove a flat Earth. And it drives them nuts, especially if you don't. What they typically do is ask you a question about some ball belief that they have. I had it today, literally in FED chat. So I was at my mother-in-law's, so we didn't have a show today for obvious reasons. But in that chat, while I was sat there at my mother-in-law's, I was watching these two trolls drive themselves nuts. It was really amusing. Because each example that they gave was spun back into practical application with a flat Earth. Now, in some instances, coming back to what Lumpy said earlier about sometimes people can deal with two things, but they can't deal with three things. So if the two things are, I use an angle to get the equator, and the equator is a ball, and am I going to ask you what the equator length is? That's how this ball troll was phrasing his question to strawman me into some claim of the distance measurement of a arbitrarily ascribed line around his ball Earth called the equator. Well, obviously, my response is to say you're going to need a flat Earth to measure that, as opposed to 24,900 or whatever it is. You know, that's not relevant when it's an arbitrarily ascribed line on a surface that's going to be measured flat in the first instance. But they can't cope with it because it's keeping more than the two things, the straw man they want to hold over you, and the claim they've got that they're so clever for knowing in the first instance, in this case, the length of the equator. So when it comes to the third thing, and you'll need a flat Earth to measure it, when he's asking me how long it is, he can't quite wrap it, or she, it may have been a she, wrap their head around the requirement for a flat Earth to get to the measurement for the length that they're asking me for, because they know the length on a ball. Do you see what I mean? So my tally off the back of this is to say, yeah, when you're talking about the horizon, if you can spin that as quickly as possible into you'll need a flat Earth for that, without being shouted down now that we have lots of discussion and no preamble is needed on this panel for what that would entail to get there, just to tally off Brian's point, easy when you know how. So when it comes to the slope dope, the rate of change, if you understand that argument, yeah, it's a doddle. If you don't, then it's the hardest thing in the world. In fact, it's a brick wall. But my point is that once you do get to these things, I'm keen to get an audience to actually focus on the flat Earth requirement that the ball earther is postulating in whatever claim they use, in this case, the horizon. There you go, I'm done.
They weren't getting it. The guy kept asking what the measurement is. You're saying it's measured flat, then what's the measurement? Remember I asked it the other day?
Yeah, I get you, Neil. I know how that game works, and I'm just going to get them to tear their own hair out rather than me by saying, oh, you want to know how it's going to be measured? You want to know what the measurement is? You'll need a flat Earth to measure it. And he's never getting an answer. In other words, I'm more than content. What these trolls like to do, Neil, is take you round in circles. So you give them an answer and they take you in circles because you're not comporting with their globe answer, or their answer isn't satisfactory, or they want to tell you that you just don't know. They've got a habit of wanting to go in circles. So you go, okay, how can I spin this to my advantage? Well, if I can take the answer to a requirement for a flat plane, it pains them to ask it again. And every time they did in that, I'm glad you were there, Neil, you can back me up on this. Every time they asked, well, what's the measurement of the equator? You'll need a flat Earth to measure it, is a perfectly adequate response that incorporates the answer and a flat Earth. So the next time they think, I'm going to ask again how long the equator is, all he can say is, you don't know, do you? That's his last bastion, because he's got nothing else beyond the response that he has to then ignore. Well, it's answering you. Well, you're asking me how the equator value would be measured. Well, you'll need a flat Earth to do it. Ask again, keep them coming. It was my attitude. You saw me, right, Neil? Keep them coming, keep them coming. In other words, yeah, go through your do-si-do cycle, because every time it comes up, I like going through the cycle of pointing out our flat Earth measurements required for your question. So let's keep doing the circle jerk, because I'll keep giving you the flat Earth you need for your question every time you ask it. And it'll drive him nuts. And the other thing that drove him nuts was that I wasn't answering him, right? He wants the 24,000 value, doesn't he? That's what he wants me to give him. So he could say that's on a globe, because that's how there's Lumpy's two thoughts in his brain working out as planned. When they don't, that's probably why they go around in circles. Mentally, they can't cope with it. So they reset. Respawn, as QE puts it, right? That's a mental break. Doesn't too many things in their head at once. What do you mean I need a flat Earth to get the measurement of the equator, to put it on a sphere, to ask you how big that sphere measurement is? That don't make no sense. Too many steps. How'd you get the measurement, Nathan? Well, you'll need a flat Earth for that.
Another thing that's happening is they're proposing within their own mind that there's a measurement would say be 6 inches, and you can measure and to want a measurement other than the aspect of the reference that the horizontal plane offers. A plane of reference doesn't have physicality other than as a reference. How could it be useful? Because it's a plane. It's not even actually a thing. It just allows for geometric considerations, right? So if they're trying to get a value placement for a measurement, and a measurement would be getting the horizon with the eyepiece and the mirror, that would be the measurement aspect, and it wouldn't involve digits, and it couldn't. So that they're doing two like non sequiturs within their own mind at that point. Does that make sense? Why I say that? I'll be quiet if I'm rambling too much, but I think it's.
You making sense? Why do you doubt yourself so much, Lumpy? It's the third time you've said that. Am I making sense? Of course you are. You wouldn't have said it if you didn't.
Hey, thanks. I don't know. I get anxious when I'm on a microphone and people listening. It's kind of a thing I've got in my head. I don't know.
It's easier to write it, Lumpy, sometimes, isn't it, than say it.
I just,
Well,
oh, is my mic still on? I wanted to point out that
This is great. This is
measuring
comedy of errors right now. This is marvelous.
a plane, it doesn't actually have physicality as non sequitur, and the it's Globe did that to people, man. Every aspect of their belief structure is based on just fanciful thinking. They really screwed up people's ability to attain knowledge.
Well, when it comes to the question that Nathan was being asked about, Nathan's response saying you're going to need a flat Earth for that equator, what that involves is a serious begging of the question, because what are they doing? They're begging the question that somebody is measuring. Someone's off mute there. Someone's off. I think Lumpy, you're off mute.
That's
Lumpy?
nervous, Lumpy.
It's you,
Lumpy,
Brian.
you're off mute. No,
You, Brian. You're off mute.
I know I'm off mute. I know that. But it's begging. What happens is they're begging the question. You see, they're starting with two straight lines meeting at a vertex, and the straight line at the bottom, which they're going to try and claim is an adjacent, even though they don't have a horizontal, right? They're going to claim that to be a horizontal adjacent that's a tangent plane that's touching their sphere at one point. They don't have horizontal for a start. Let me just go through the steps. There's no such thing as horizontal or vertical on a sphere, because there is no sphere Eric, I'm saying. There is no reference for it. You don't have a reference for horizontal. And all your verticals must diverge, so they can't be verticals. So you don't have horizontal or vertical. So both of them are gone. But they're going to start with the preassumption that they have a horizontal tangent plane, and they have an angle line from that to a star, and then they're going to move that angle down to the center equatorial plane of their globe, which is actually just a circle with a line through it. That's mathematically actually all it is. And they're going to measure an arc length, right? But that arc length part, where did that come from? They're pre-assuming that 60 nautical miles is 1 degree of arc length, because they're after hijacking the protractor and the celestial dome model, right? So in their heads, they're measuring 60, for every degree, they're measuring 60 nautical miles of physical arc length along the surface of a physical globe, right? But that's a complete and utter, all this is so delta X is ridiculous, right? For them to figure out what 1 nautical mile was, right, what 1 degree, right, of distance was, they had to find out the statute mile distance first. That means they had to find out eventually that 69.04 horizontal statute miles fitted end to end was 1 degree of angular change to the celestials, with Polaris starting with Polaris. So they had to find that out first. That means that the first measurement they ever had to do had to be a horizontal measurement of distance, because statute miles are not curved. They're a straight horizontal, what they are is a straight horizontal distance. So 69.04 of these straight horizontal distances make up 1 degree of angular change to the celestials. Now, that's the first problem they have. The second problem they have is that they're trying to put 2 lines meeting at a vertex and claim that's their elevation angle. No, QE has pointed this out time and time again, and people are not listening. No, an elevation angle is not just an angle, right? An elevation angle is specifically a right angle triangle. And the right angle part of that will be at the GP of the celestial body, right? So whether it's the sun, the stars, whatever they're doing, any elevation angle to anything, including the celestials, although you won't have a height to the celestials via, you're not looking for a height, you're measuring a horizontal distance, but you're going to be using a right angle triangle, right? So that's statute miles and right angle triangles. That's what they're actually using. And they were denying and avoiding all those things and trying to come up with some 2 angles meeting at a vertex, and the adjacent of that vertex is going of that angle is going to be, or one of those lines is claimed to be a tangent plane, but they're completely ignoring what has to happen beforehand. But I have a video coming out. It should have come out a month ago, but things got in the way. I've been trying to bring it out and make it for weeks. That's going to put all that right back in their own court. They're going to have a serious problem because they're using these right-angle triangles all the time, but they don't realize they're using them. And yet they'll turn around and deny that the elevation angle is a right-angle triangle in celestial navigation, denying the actual definition of an elevation angle, or angle of elevation, as it's often called. So they're denying what that is, while also and asking us, telling us you don't have right-angle triangles. Elevation angles aren't right-angle triangles. There's no right-angle triangles in celestial navigation. And then they turn around and they use them themselves when they're doing their own mathematics without realizing it. So they're complete hypocrites, and they don't even know it. So just all that future promotion on a video to come.
All that's true, but you said it was a begging the question fallacy on nuclear steroids, and you started out with, well, they're taking a tangent plane. Really, what's a tangent?
Well, a tangent plane would be a tangent to a circle.
Yeah,
or a sphere.
Yeah. So there's the begging the question. Before you say tangent, don't you have to establish the sphere first?
But see, this is the thing. Their sphere that they are trying to establish in their own minds is coming from a 69.04 horizontal statute mile measurement.
I understand that, but as soon as they invoke a tangent, that answer my question.
Yeah, you're going to have to establish. You would have to establish the sphere out that you're claiming you're putting a tangent to.
Yeah.
Before you can use the tangent.
Exactly.
Yeah. Of course.
Yep. That's what makes it a begging the question fallacy from the Black Lagoon, because you're assuming the very thing you're attempting to prove. Not you, but you know what. You follow.
Hey, Huey, I just wanted to add 2 cents on the slope. Is where is the original source for that statement? I've been looking for it because I wanted to tie it to a body so that it is an actually government filed, document.
What
I think that's the hostile witness aspect of it. The U.S. Navy.
What statement are you looking for?
That the horizon's defined as zero slope by the U.S. Navy. The body that statement came from, that would be.
No, they didn't say military. That. No, they defined curvature as the rate of change of slope.
Yeah, but they've defined the horizon correct as having the quality of zero slope.
Yeah,
right?
No, they didn't. That's just an axiom, because that's what horizontal means.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought. Okay. Okay. Because I was trying to find out. Because normally you'll post something like. I thought there was an affiliation to the Navy. Is that just for example, they would use this as horizontal because it is?
No, they did.
I thought it was like,
no. You're getting it confused. The Navy came out with curvature. They defined curvature as the rate of change of slope, and then I compared it to the horizon, which is just an axiom that has zero slope. So it's a paradox by axiom, essentially, for both.
Yeah. Okay. So when the section came out, I was immediately, I knew the horizon was horizontal and parallel with the horizon behind it. And so, but to define it with the slope intercept was good, because that's kind of the way that Globers will think. They'll go to math and now they get stumped. So good. Definitely. I like it.
Oh yeah, it's absolute killer argument. Just no one's using it. That's okay. I mean, they like to argue because people like to argue. They have their own little agenda, so they'll argue like 10 steps down from the begging the question fallacy. And not that they're wrong, they just fail to cut them off at the knees initially. Paul?
Definitely. I was on 20. I've a couple times talked to a baller about the horizon and the fact that it has
like
zero
Brian.
slope.
He isn't going to use the slope dope because he's got all the pedigree information for all the answers to their begging the question fallacies down the road. So he likes to argue way down the road, which, like I said, it's not wrong. And there's a few other people that like to do that too. Nathan.
It's like playing a game of chess, though, because you have all of the winning moves. So
Yes.
you just let them corner themselves, and for your audience, so they can see that. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's just we have different styles. I like to cut them right off the knee because you'll very rarely hear me go back to the Black Swan. I won't do it because it's much easier to slope-a-dope them. Follow?
Agree, and I use that kind of style of arguing just to bring them down to my level. Like, this is the way we experience the world, so we can agree that this is horizontal and that we experience the earth this way. All of us do. So that's what I like to use it for.
Notice
Except for the fact that
Notice
But-
Brian's
okay,
not sticking
except-
up. Hold on, Lumpy. Notice Brian's not sticking up for herself.
I can't deny that I do. Yeah, I do that. I'm guilty as charged. But I will go with the slope-a-dope. I will go to slope-a-dope. The slope-a-dope is like, well, it's not one. It's like, for me, it's like there's that little cherry on top of that cake kind of thing.
I would also like
But
to
as
know.
soon as they bring up the horizon, shouldn't we be going to slope-a-dope?
I don't know. Should's a powerful word. Like I said, it depends on if you'd like to argue and you'd like to get them to compromise themselves with 3 or 4 down to 12 steps beyond. You can't have a horizon on a globe-tard. Then it's not a should thing. It's personal preference, I guess. I don't know. No one does it except me, so I don't mind. I can handle it.
In my defense, I'm not. A lot of the arguments I'm having at present, since the slope-a-dope argument came out, a lot of the arguments I'm having aren't involving the horizon directly. I'm having less geometric arguments. I'm having more arguments to do with gases and different things like that. So maybe I'm not even in the position to even use it.
That sounds like
Maybe they're not. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maybe they're not going there because they're aware of the slope-a-dope killer.
Perhaps. Go ahead, Lumpy. Oh, I'm sorry, not Lumpy. Flatsy. Go ahead, Flatsy.
Oh, I can't remember what I said. Sorry.
It
I
was
was being a shithead.
It was only 8 seconds ago.
Yeah, but
Yeah, Brian blames me for doing that a lot. I stop
I
his
was-
train of thought, and he blames it on me.
Hey, can I try
Correctly.
and give an example of how the entropy of the local environment is relational to that area? If you were to say have a hot cup of
boy.
coffee no, because the heat is entropically going into the environment, but it's the area closest to the heat that'll be more affected than the area further away from the heat, right?
Well,
So
yeah.
that heat. So that's what's happening with the pressure. It's within its environment, and it's reacting in concert with the environment, not so much affected by the environment 10,000 feet lower or whatever.
Yeah, that's
But
common
especially
sense.
after the phase change. Okay. Yeah, it is common sense. But I wanted to state it. Anyway, I just wanted it in the mind. It's a convoluted idea to present with words. So anyway, thanks.
I remember what I said. It was because Brian said that he doesn't ever talk about the horizon in these arguments anymore, and I said that sounds like a personal problem. See, I was just being a shithead.
And that friggin' bonehead that came on Nathan's show the other day, the neural surgeon. Yeah, he's a neural surgeon. I'm stalling.
That's what I said.
He's even more indicted if he is. But he was doing a rope-a-dope on you guys. I couldn't believe it. And you guys weren't catching it. First, he said that he could see the rover on Mars, and somehow in the next 5 seconds, it got converted to seeing a rover or the moon buggy.
Yep.
And then he stated that he knows the Earth's a sphere because of stars and planets, and then he said, "No, I never said stars and planets. I said the moon." I was like, "What on earth is going on with this guy?" He can't.
No,
Nathan was being a hog anyway.
Yeah, we couldn't. There was a lot of things I wanted to put him on, but I couldn't. And Nathan pulled him on stuff. Nathan pulled him on. Like Nathan did an excellent job, but I couldn't. Once Nathan is in the zone, that's it. Everyone else just has to shut the f up. I can't do that about it.
That's not an
there's
excuse.
there's no feeding the wolf pups.
Yes,
with
there is.
Nathan.
You need to bow your way in until he mutes all you guys, like he did. Yeah, that's what happened. It was too funny. I couldn't believe that guy was jumping. He didn't remember the last thing he said.
He wasn't even real. He was just a troll. Come on, you just got to know that.
Well, I wanted at the end, but it finished. I wanted to ask him a few questions about neuralgia and what he claimed to be. Yeah, because he'd have to know about certain things. And I want him to bring me through all the steps of how he would, for this particular illness, or well, not illness, what's the word I'm looking for? Condition. What would be the steps of the surgery he would do? And like forego all day, I'd have to wash my hands, blah blah blah, because that's what he's going to try and come up with. I want to hit the steps, and I want you to name out all the places and exactly what the medical terms are for those particular parts of the head and the brain and all this kind of stuff. I want him to go through all the details. And I wanted to see how long it would go before he just hang up.
He probably lobotomized everybody.
I'd ask him what the parts of the brain are. That would have been fun.
But that's what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to have to name out all the parts of the head and the brain that he'd have to be operating on to solve this particular issue. Let's say one of the neuralgias or something, these operations they do to relieve the pain.
What would a neurological surgeon be doing on a YouTube flat earth debate show? Come on.
He might be on the YouTube one, but why would it be in a Discord server? Do you know what I mean? He might be on YouTube hearing it, but he wouldn't be in a Discord server.
Yeah. He'd be giving lectures somewhere.
I wanted to ask him how you could have better than perfect vision.
Yeah, that was a good one. I cracked up when I heard that. Yeah, I
It's
liked
a
it.
binocular vision with a good telescope. Come on.
Yep. There was some classic parts in that.
What is it about the ball tard that makes these people so stupid?
Not only so stupid, but want to express their stupidity openly.
Well, it's just the way they claim what they do for a living. Phil Bell, he's a waste management dude, but he wants to be this guy that's moved around satellites. Now we got a neurosurgeon. What is he probably doing? He's probably a sanitation guy.
Well, to be honest with you, it's funny the amount of the ballers who have claimed to be things over the years and failed to prove that they had those credentials. It seems to be a constant with them, doesn't it? How many of the ballers have claimed to have degrees in this, that, and the other thing, and they haven't been able to support it? There's only a couple of them, like I say, Conspiracy Cats, yeah, he's a primary school or junior school teacher, that's what he is, or whatever. I think Charles Flatter Math is a high school teacher. Ruif never claimed to be anything, but he other than he was a solicitor, I think, or something that was his career or whatever. I think he's gone from that now. But other than that, the rest of them, the amount of claims they've come out with and nothing, big heap of nothing. I think they're in a world where you think they're in a world where they think they can just lie their way through life or something. I've said this before. Go on, sorry.
No, their confidence in something so stupid is very alarming to me.
It's alarming. Yeah, yeah. It's called Dunning-Kruger, but it's a delusional level that's not categorized just yet. I can't explain it. I really can't.
Here's what I is they're I've concluded that they're blinded by God. Like it seems to me that it's they wanted to believe the lie, and God, and in the Bible it said that God would make them believe the lie. So
Right.
they rejoiced in the lie, and yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, no, that's that has some hair on it. No doubt about it. Yep.
Well, now this is coming from someone who's not a Bible reader, so I don't know. But from what I've heard, even the Bible doesn't account for this, for what we're dealing with. I don't think so.
that's pretty powerful. I think there's something to be said for the. I'm not going to get into that. It's a wrangle dangle. I apologize.
Yeah, trying to diagnose this stuff, I'm not really into it. You know,
They do enough of the psychoanalyzing of us, which is really annoying when they should be psychoanalyzed, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Sorry, their analysis has always been. I'm just saying their analysis of us psychologically has always been the same. We're idiots or liars. The smart ones are liars, and they fool all the idiots. That's what they like. Nathan is smart. They can't deny that Nathan is smart, right? They can't deny Nathan's intellect. So they've got to say that Nathan is only lying for money to get all the fools like me and whoever else to be subscribed to him. Do you know what I mean? So, like, Nathan is the smart one, and all the people that follow him are the fools. So that's the way they have to do it. It'll never, in their heads, they can't get away from, they can't accept that we actually might not be so stupid. There's a lot of stupid flat earthers, don't get me wrong, but they can't accept that it's not a case of smart leading the stupid, the dishonest smart leading the stupid, that it's actually a case of just people just accepting the world for what it is. They can't get to that point. So because of that, we are always either stupid or smart or dishonest. But the dishonest ones are smart. That's the way they have to. Like Nathan is. They can't deny Nathan. They can't deny his intellect. So they got to say that he's a scammer. That's all they can do.
Well, I wish while Nathan was still here, we would have asked him how the chess game went. Wasn't his youngest going to be playing his father or something?
They were playing chess in the Meekin household. Adam posted a photo the other day.
Oh. Good stuff.
Does Adam think he's like Bobby Fischer or somebody?
I don't know. I don't know if he thinks he's that good, but he knows he's handier than those around him. I'll put it that way. Some tells me he's a pretty sneaky player.
Yeah, he would.
Some tells me Adam may be handy.
Yeah, he would remind you of somebody that's sneaky. You got to keep your eye on him.
yeah, he's going to be one of these kind of take our queen with a completely unforeseen big angle with the bishop, and do it on a real swift move, swift motion, and you didn't see it on a really full board, that kind of a thing.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking that while the chessboard's put up, that he'll come in during the night and move pieces, that sort of thing.
He'd move a pawn around, all right? And he'd move a pawn. That's what he'd move. Not any major things, just a pawn.
Yeah, right. That'd be enough.
Yeah, because he doesn't want it to be noticed, and he just wants just enough of an advantage.
Yeah, yeah. Just the way through it. Yeah. I played for many years. I started playing against computer and stuff, and then I get really pissed when the computer would beat me. But I enjoyed it. It was something enjoyable. I never, tied my manhood to it or anything. And then I just stopped playing.
It's one of those things you have to study it and play it to be good at it. It's like trying to be good at golf. You can't just go out and casually play it.
Yes.
You have to be there every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not, you can't casually just become really good at chess. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You won't. You have to play it every day. You must study the game. You must be aware of everything that's happening on the board. To the point where, if you look at the good players, like that lady I talked about before, that Susan Polgar, I talked about the other day. Sorry, one of my cats is in playing behind me. That she could go around with 20 people who are all 1800 ranked, 1900 ranked, who are way up in the rankings. She can walk around with them in a square of 20 or more of them, 25 of them, and she can just walk around taking move, casually walk the next board, walk to the next board, move, and beat everyone casually. Do you know what I mean? You can't just be smart. You have to be dedicated to get to that level.
Sure. Yep.
And those people who she's beating could do that to 25 people who are at my level.
Yeah.
With ease, that kind of way. So that's the difference. The greatest win I ever had was not a win. Right? Do you want to hear it?
Good.
I was playing my friend, and what I would do is, I'm one of these won't give up people, right? And I'll keep on trying. It depends. These days I will, because I know when the game is over, right? But at one time when I was playing my friend, we were both at a level where there was a possibility that one of us would make a mistake. So he was all attack kind of. He's that kind of a player. Whereas I'll defend and do sneaky stuff. I like when there's a full board and I can do sneaky stuff and cause problems. Whereas he likes to clear the board and just take me out, kind of thing. That's the way we play. So I was in a position where I was losing the game. Right, this game we're having. We're outdoors at this bench and we're playing, and the game was going his way, and I was not accepting this. Right, so I kept on playing and kept on playing and kept on playing, and no matter what was happening, I kept on losing, but I wouldn't stop. Right, I kept on avoiding being checkmated, kept getting out of check and whatever. Right, so I ended up. It got so bad that he was so annoyed with me that he kept on getting queens with his pawns. I couldn't stop him. The game was after getting to a ridiculous point. He ended up with 4, and he was going for his 5th and 6th queen. Right? That's how bad it was. Right? He had 4 queens on the board, and I had a king and a pawn. Right? And he left my pawn there on purpose because he knew it couldn't do anything. He could have taken it at any point, but he didn't. Instead of taking the pawn and then coming in and finishing the king, right, what he did is he put me in a position where any move I would make would put me into check. So technically, it's a stalemate. So here I am with a king and a pawn. He has more or less all these good. He has like 4 queens and loads of pawns, it still has good pieces, everything. And here I am with a king and a pawn. And this is after a 3-hour game, and I got a stalemate. I mean, he nearly vomited afterwards. I can't believe, he said, I can't believe that. And I was laughing my ass off because I did not deserve that level of luck. You know what I mean? I just saw what was happening, and I said, if I move in here and he goes there and checks me there, and I move here, right? It was like a 3-move ahead thing.
Yep.
Then I won't be able to move. And I did it, and he did exactly what I wanted him to do. It was a stalemate. Do you know what I mean? It's like the guy who never deserved to win the lottery wins it 5 times.
Yeah. All right, what else is left, guys?
I just want to make this statement, and I know this ain't a religious show, but for Brian in particular, I had an occurrence, but first I want to say that Jesus for sure, from my estimate, and it does require faith and belief. However, it's the most important thing possible to get to know that as a human we need a forgiver. It's incoherent that I would be able to justify, before a holy God without an atonement that was, and that's the gospel message, in my opinion, is. But I would say, Brian, would be
I have to stop
maybe
you
try
there.
to take time to develop that some, or maybe try reading the Bible some and see if it might even
you
bring
have
you into a life.
No, because you just said something there that ruined your whole point.
Lumpy, you have to understand the
I won't be
Trinity
doing
first,
that.
Lumpy.
No.
You don't even
Hang on.
understand the Trinity.
Hey,
and you're
Neil.
telling Brian he needs to read the Bible?
Neil, that'll
Come
be
on.
about enough of that. We're not going down this road. No
Okay,
chance.
I apologize. I just wanted to express it verbally because I'll never have that opportunity, or it would only be on this sort of a forum where I'd have a chance. How about try reading the Bible? And if you got hemmed up on some words I
No,
used,
I won't be doing
I
that. I won't be
apologize.
reading the Bible.
You won't? Okay,
won't.
yeah, that's your life. I'm okay. I just wanted to try.
If I want to know what pertinent from it, I know the people to ask. If I want to know what pertinent about the Bible or about from it, I know the people to ask.
Damn heathen.
I can ask Paula, or I can ask QE, Betty, Tenth Man, any of the rest of the people on the panel or anything.
Hey, put me in there,
Bible
buddy.
believers. Oh, well, look, no offense. It's just like, you know what I mean? If I said I could ask Neil and then I say I ask Paula, that's not going to be correct. But obviously, Paula has more.
Oh, no. Paul is first, of course.
Neil, that was the perfect opportunity for you to say, "What am I over here? Chopped liver?"
Chopped liver? All right. Well,
I like that picture of myself by the tank on the Intrepid. Boy, the youth. If I was only young again.
The hell are you talking about?
My
His
icon.
profile picture.
I'm on the Intrepid, right in front of a tank, and I'm young.
I can't. It's too small. I can't see it.
Trust me, it's a great picture.
All right, I'll trust you.
Do I see a super chat?
Huh?
Or is this from before? No, there's a super chat.
Flatsy!
Super chat. Sorry.
Super fluid.
And it's retro.
Uh-oh.
Retro Bill. All right.
Go ahead.
I had a chess computer for years and could never beat it, even on the simple level setting. I brought it to a friend who set it to expert and quickly defeated it 3 times in a row. I quit shortly after that.
Yeah, I got you, retro. Yeah. That's the damnedest thing. Yeah. Yes, sir. I've experienced something similar to that. Too funny. Thanks, retro. Merry Christmas, man, to you and yours. Thank you. So what else? What else is coming up? Of course, we got 2024.
Well, there is one thing, and that is that Google Earth uses perspective.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They use angle or size.
It can't be doing that.
Exactly.
Exactly. They can't steal that from us. Of course, they've been hijacking it. That's the whole thing. That's all they got is the hijack perspective and NASA photos. That's it. That's all they have. When you get down to it.
Yeah, they have to hijack all natural and optical effects, and NASA photos. That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
They don't have anything other than that. It's a hijacking of reality.
Yeah, hijack perspective, and they don't have any NASA photos. So every argument that they have, they're hiding those two things in the back because that's all they really have. All the rest is barely palpable, incoherent noise. That's all. That's it.
Salt Lake Stacy
Sorry,
got
Nat.
some. Sorry.
No, it's Flatty. You go ahead.
Salt Lake Stacy from 24/7. She got some really good footage at a Salt Lake of someone really far off in the distance and showing like the reflective surface of that angle of incidence. And it's with an umbrella and everything showing and waving it so you could see the reflection. It's really good stuff. Check it out. It's on 24/7. There's a link to it.
You need to save it and put the link in here, not just speak to it and say go to 24/7. Not everyone's going to do that.
I'm doing it right now.
All right. You can't be doing it right now. You know why?
I do.
Superchat! Super fluid!
Sorry, my phone glitched out on me. Super chat.
Super fluid.
Super chat.
Super fluid.
Okay. Tony Whitcomb, June Buggy, who went on FED, did have help. He asked his mate at work to lobotomize him before he faced Nathan. And happy birthday, QE. And Roger Ledwell, one last thing, supermodel.
Supermodel. I forgot to add that one. Thanks, Scott. Tony. Yeah. Yeah. Good one, Tony. And thanks, Roger. Appreciate it. Appreciate that, guys. Yeah.
When are we going to get to Superman?
I did. Yeah, Superman's way down on the list. I think I got to him one time.
Well, just going back to that Google Earth point is really important because I'm after pointing out, right? Now, this is not one of these me saying, I knew this before everyone else or any nonsense like that. I pointed out that Google Earth are using perspective and what they're doing with perspective to make it look like our curve in the past. I don't know how many years ago, and I've done it several times. But yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, I think it was Christmas Eve, could have been, I'm there and I'm washing my hands and I went, hang on a minute. Google Earth just came into my head for some reason. Maybe it was a comment from somebody or something. I went, hang on a minute. They can't be doing that. Do you know what I mean? No, you can't. Can't be doing that. It's like, why didn't they spot this? Even though I'm saying it, it's like I may as well have been telling myself and I wasn't listening to myself or something for years. It's like, yeah, they're hijacking perspective. They're using perspective and calling it our curve. I made that comment and I pointed it out. I think I even put part of it in a video one time. It was just like, yeah, they can't be doing that. They can't. If they're using angular sizes, and they are in Google, right? Anyone can see it. You go to Google Earth and they'll be using angular sizes. They're using angular size change, then that's not our curve. Whatever it is that they're trying to show can't be going over our curve because that's not part of their mathematics. They can't have an angular size change. So Google Earth are so desperate that they need to have angular size change and even extend. What they actually do is and I've made this point before, this is the point I made in the past, is they make something disappear faster than it actually would in reality with angular size change in the distance, and that gives you the impression it's gone into over Earth curve. But the thing is changing in angular size before it ever gets to that point. So they have
super fluid.
Sorry, Brian.
Sorry, Brian. We got to do the super fluid. Scott.
No worries.
James Richard, unless you're closing shop, I'm trying to get on Discord. Is it invitation only? If so, where's the link?
Oh, the link, James. The link is in the description box of the video. Just hit the link. You should be good to go. That link's updated. There might not be. Hold on a second, Brian. There might not be anyone. Is B with a buzz in here? No, I don't see him.
I put a link in the chat for him.
Yeah, but I think if he's not in this server, then somebody has to go in and approve him. I can't do that.
B with a buzz is.
Yeah, B's there right now.
Is he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Go ahead, Brian.
Also, link for Salt Lake Stacy in the BALLBUSTERS chat.
So, yeah, that's a video.
Yeah, I can go try to find the timestamp of where she shows that footage. It's really good.
Is that Salt Lake Stacy with the microphone?
Yes, that's her.
Okay.
She's young.
She's going to need a couple jumbo sandwiches with cheese and extra mayo, too.
What?
Well, she's like
gotta put some weight on. That's what he's saying.
She's like you, Flatsy. She can windsurf on a Dorito.
I just got an image out of my head.
Good robot laugh.
It's a robot laugh. All right. Well, we don't want to take. I'll watch it later. I'm not going to put it up now. But Brian's point. Where did you see that Google Earth was taking angular size change into account? On a video or something?
Well, I mean, you can see it actually happening, and I'm going to go and get evidence of it. You can see it actually happening. That they show an angular size change to an object. So it's like you can still see the bottom of the object and the top of the object is just gotten smaller. That can't happen. It can't happen in their world, in the mathematics that they're claiming for. They're claiming to show the Earth as a globe, and they're trying to claim that's reality. Yet they're using angular size change. And for anyone who doesn't know, and most people do know, but anyone who doesn't know, just so you know, if you took angular size change, if you have perspective and or curve mathematically included, then what Google Earth would have to do is take a 6-foot object and make it disappear at 1.8 miles.
Yeah, that's correct.
Which is not exactly, and that's not in alignment with perspective or our curve. Do you know what I mean? But if they're trying to use our curve and perspective, or just try and pretend they're saying they're using our curve, but they're using perspective, it means that within Google Earth, the 6-foot object must disappear at 1.8 miles, which is out of alignment with angular size changes and our curve mathematics. You know, so
yeah.
Do you mean angle size or angular size?
Oh, brother.
and he had the neck to come back in, and I wasn't talking at the time, but he had the neck to come back in and actually say a few weeks later that because certain people don't understand the difference between angle size and angular size, and he was referring to me. It's like, that's you, Tony.
He was referring to all of us.
There's no difference. It's the same thing.
The two, buddy. Shout out to Anthony. Merry Christmas, Anthony, if you're out there. I thought I seen him pop in here in the chat, but that was a while ago.
He's a character, that fella. I was probably cleaning the bathroom or something like that, and I listened to him and I was going, the neck of that fella. I said, I know he's referring to me because I was the last person he spoke about with it. It was me he was speaking to when he hung up and left. So it was me in particular he was pointing.
Yeah, but I think he was talking about all of us. He may have labeled you, but he was knocking us all.
Well, he was knocking everyone, but he was saying certain people as well, and I know he was talking about me. It's like, I know you're talking about me, Tony. You know what I mean? I know it's me. You don't have to say it. I know who you're talking about here. You know what I mean? I was in the bathroom going, I know it's me.
Yeah. I know it's me that you're talking about. Yeah.
He's a character, that fella.
Yeah, he is.
Happy Christmas to him, to Sleeping Warrior.
That means Merry Christmas, Neil.
I know that. I got it. They do things backwards in England. They celebrate the 26th rather than the 25th.
I'm in Ireland. Come on, Neil. I thought you'd recognize that at this stage.
I know what I said. Think about it.
Did James
you
jump up
James?
in? Did James? We got it, Neil. Did James jump up in there?
Yeah,
or
he's
no?
coming down. He should be down in a second.
Okay.
He's talking to B. Yeah.
All right.
So 2024, we can safely say, right? No Horizon on Globetrot year.
No Horizon on a globe. If that's what you want, because that's I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't have a man. I do have a mandate, but I'm not gonna mandate it. It's just mine. Hey, whoever wants to take it. I mean, it's a killer.
I'm taking it, bro.
Yeah,
Super
you can,
simple. Yeah.
go ahead and take it,
I
man.
told you the other night, my wife loved it, dude.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Your wife, because I went over it the other night on 24/7,
Yeah,
and then
dude.
I could hear her in the background.
She was listening a lot with me, but she was listening to it. And as you were finishing your question at the end of a definition of a slope and no slope, by the time you finished that question, though, she was like, "That was the best fucking argument I ever heard in my life." And like I said, my wife doesn't throw the F-bombs that easy, man. So yeah, that was
No
great.
swearing.
No swearing.
Yeah, I hope. I could tell she liked it, and yeah, I remember her, or you saying that she was doing that.
Yep.
Go. Yeah.
Hey, Kiwi, can I ask for 3 sentences to justify that one specific thing brought up? Just 3 sentences. I'll just say it real quick. So, Scripture is inspired by God, and He tells us 14 times in the Bible, like 9 in the Old Testament and 5 in the New, that He is one. Now, He would define Himself as one to us, right? In the Bible, 14 times.
Lumpy,
I'm sorry, but
Lumpy and Neil.
He defines Himself as one.
Lumpy.
Don't even start.
I told you two guys, Lumpy and Neil, that we weren't going to have this today on the show. Do you understand me? I meant what I said. Got it? Both you guys. Give me a yes.
I apologize. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I apologize.
You don't need to apologize. Just don't bring it. I don't want that on the show today. Neil, do you understand me?
Yeah, I understand.
Just yes. Thank you. Yeah, no roboting, just yes. Good deal. Now, after the ever after show, you can knock yourselves out. But not today. Not on this show. Especially with you roboting. Now, where were we at? Were we on the Horizon? Yeah, we were on Mighty Mush and his wife that heard the argument. Was that the first time? Obviously, that was the first time she heard it, right?
Yeah, first time she heard that argument, but she listens to me every once in a while. I'm not going to say a lot, but she definitely listens. And I keep her up with the arguments. Like, I talk to her, whether she likes it or not. Like, the other night she was listening. She was doing her yoga right behind me. And yeah, man, that's the way it went down, dude. Her eyes were so wide open by the time you were finishing your question. You know, how can you have those things at the same time? But I turned around and her eyes are so wide open. She was like, yeah. Look, I don't want to say the F again, but
yeah,
that was great, man.
Yeah.
That was epic.
Beans, man. Yeah. You guys want to deal a death blow to any Baltard and make it quick?
Yep.
It's I'm telling you, learn the slope though. It's easy argument, dudes.
Yeah, and she also said like the fact that you never think about these things, how, you know, when you explained that the word horizontal is derived from horizon. Yeah, she was just like, wow, what the, like, you don't think about these things ever in your life, you know?
Yeah.
And when they get presented to you, you're like, are you serious, man? This is like that simple? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that was that simple. So it definitely put a smile on my face, bro, because that was the first time I heard her like that engaged into the argument, you know?
Oh, cool.
She just sometimes she's like, why are these guys yelling? Why are they yelling this? But I'm like, you don't understand, like, you know, like, because these people, like, some of these people are idiots and they just come here to drive these guys crazy. So you just don't get it. Like, don't be asking why they're yelling so much. But yeah, this time she was like, wow. She was telling me how simple this is and how you never think about these things. So it definitely made me smile, bro. I was very happy that she was so deeply engaged into the what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. See what an effect it can have, you guys?
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say the slope of dope has weight.
The only time that my husband pops up when he hears QE is when he's talking about Tombstone.
He's already a flat earther, right?
He's not a globe earther. I don't really think that he's trying to engage in that whole thing.
I didn't say
He-
engaging. I'm saying where's he stand?
I don't know. I don't engage that kind of way with him with it.
Well, next time he's on, we're gonna ask him.
Well, he has argued my points many times without me being around. So he knows the arguments and he defends my position if he has to.
Ah, so he's a fence walker.
Sounds like a flat earther to me.
He's a smart man. That's all I'll say. I don't need to engage too much with it, and because he doesn't need to argue.
Right. I got you. I
Sorry.
think I'm tracking with you. Yeah. You just you let her bulge. Let her bulge. You know, that's the same thing I do with most people. I'll just leave it out there.
Yeah, I talk to him about stuff like little things here and there, and he's good. He's good at understanding it all. Sorry.
Is he listening?
No, he's talking to one of his friends right now.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I thought I heard him in the background back there. Okay.
You did? He's being silly in there. I can hear him laughing.
Ah, got you.
If you wanted to say hi to James Richard, he's in a chat right now.
Is James in here?
Yeah.
Where's he at? He's not pop. Is he pop? Where is he? Is that him right there? With the J?
No, it actually says James Richard 7855. What's up, James? How are you, buddy?
I don't see him. James, where are you?
Good. Hopefully, I'm not roboting.
No, you're good. It's giving
Robot.
me, for some reason, James, it does this. It gives me a small J, small letter, small case J, and 3 dots. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's doing that with you, and the only 2 people it's doing that is with you and D. Above Flatsy, it's giving me D ... It's Moxnix. What's up, James? What did you want to talk about?
Well, I don't want to take this. I don't want to take away from your show, but real quick, I'm on my phone. I was on 24/7 Flat Earth Discord before on my phone, and it gave me an option for speaker. Right now, I have to hold it to my ear like I'm talking, on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows how I could get the speaker.
We're starting to
I
lose
can
you.
help with that.
We're starting to lose you a little bit, James.
James, if you just press.
Sorry, I took it away from my mouth.
James, if you press on one of the people in the list, it'll open up a little bar at the top and you'll see a speaker. If you click on that speaker, what I find is that sometimes if I rejoin, I have to switch from phone to speaker and back again to speaker because it kind of gets locked up in the phone position. So you can switch it back to speaker and you should be able to hear better. Try that.
See if it. Yeah, are you there now?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, that's way better. Sorry, QE.
No,
All right,
you're
my
good.
bad, guys. Go ahead. Thanks a lot.
No, you wanted to bring something up. Is that the only thing you wanted to bring up, or are you good?
Well, it's way earlier in the show when I think it was Neil was talking about calculation of the density of gases, and I brought up how it's strictly the medium you're putting it into. So it's not just like if you like a submarine. Wouldn't the density calculation be different for like if you change the medium to mercury? I know that's not realistic, but
Right.
just as an analogy. Well, wouldn't it be completely different? Or
I don't know. Density is mass over volume. If we're going that route, it was my point that in any equation, you have to rigorously define every single variable that you're speaking about. And since no one can define mass, it's just not. There's nothing there. So the density equal mass over volume, that equation is nonsensical. However, everyone uses it. It's just a convention. Now, if you agree on what mass is, in that convention, then you can discuss it. But it has no relation to reality, is the best way that I can describe it. It's like an inch or a centimeter, right? Now, if you don't agree on that convention, you're talking nonsense. It still has no relation to anything in reality if a person doesn't know what an inch and a centimeter is. Do you follow where I'm going with this?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's kind of what Neil was getting to. I guess I misunderstood, but yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yep. And thanks for the super chat, James. I appreciate that. My wife does too. I'll tell you that much.
Right? Yeah, you're probably disappointed now that I know how to join the Discord.
No, not at all, man. You can come in there anytime you want.
Well, it's just less super chats.
Somebody kick his ass out. Too funny.
That's funny.
All right, you guys done? Is that all you got for me today? Because, yes, that was considered closing out the show. Because it's my birthday. I got to do some birthday things, man.
Well, get your birthday on.
Get your birthday on.
Sing a song. Are we going to sing a song?
No, don't.
I already did.
She already did in the beginning, and then for he's a jolly good fellow. I don't know where the hell that came from.
It was great. It was perfect. Great way to start the show off.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was
They actually do it on Godfather.
They do what?
I just realized they're doing on the Godfather for his birthday. They sing a jolly good fellow.
Neil, that was a jumbled mess of convoluted robotedness.
Mr. Roboto.
All right, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Flatsy. Last thing.
He said that's what they do on The Godfather.
Oh, really? They sing happy birthday and he's a jolly good fellow after that?
Jolly, you say. And Flatsy, I missed if I start. You sang this to QE.
Well, this was neat.
Get the definition of that one.
Get the definition of jolly out and let's compare and contrast.
Neil's claim, not mine. Why do I have to prove his claim?
I said, am I roboting?
No, you're good now.
The end of The Godfather, it's his birthday. Michael's remembering, and they start singing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow.
Oh, I didn't. You might be right about that. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I bet you Flatsy didn't know that.
I didn't. I just heard him.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm going to wrap her on up. You're on mute. So, Merry Christmas out there. Take care during the holidays. We call it the silly season. We used to call it that way, especially New Year's Eve. Back in the day, my best friend, because we were expert partiers, man. But we wouldn't do anything on New Year's Eve. He called it amateur night. He said it was extremely dangerous. I'll never forget that. Good friend of mine, Jim. Shout out to you, Jim, he's not listening, but he knows I'm shouting him out. Take it easy out there. Be careful, like I said. And we'll catch you on the flip side. QE, out.
Hey, we have actually got a top three. So in at number 3, shall we do the music? Dun, 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 dun. And here we are with Top of the Fuckwit Pops for an answer to how can you have gas pressure without a container. In at number 3, it's The Rumpus with The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth. Dun 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 dun. And down one at number 2, it's the redneck retard with a demonstration of gas pressure, quote, without a container, by way of 2 containers. Dun 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 dun. And top of the pops, fuckwit number 1. It's Thunderfoot Clown by changing gas into a solid with bonded bouncy balls. Dun 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 dun.
What do they win?
They win number 1 Fuckwit of the Year award.